Hello, Bible readers. It's Thursday, March 18th. We're reading from 2 Chronicles chapter 28, 2 Kings verses 16 to 17, and 2 Corinthians chapter 9 through chapter 10, verse 18. Lots of seconds. 2 Chronicles, we've got Ahaz's shockingly bad reign. Just bad choice after bad choice. And those bad choices, of course, are set in contrast to Jotham's good 16 years. So you really can think of, instead of Jekyll and Hyde, you can try to remember Jotham and Ahaz, because that's kind of how the kings in, this is how the kings are kind of depicted as kind of a good 16 years and a terrible 16 years. Ahaz is despised by the chronicler. You can tell, right? He's a traitor, apostate, which is like worse than a traitor. It's a traitor like with a religious connotation. Basically, Ahaz is the worst. If you're a fan of the Hamilton musical, Burr, it's like, "You are the worst, Burr," is what one of the lines is. And this Ahaz, he's the worst. 2 Kings chapter 16 is Ahaz facts. So the chronicler puts a little more interpretation on the time of Ahaz, but 2 Kings is about, not just the facts, but it's far more just, laying out, here's what happened. Ahaz's reliance on military leads to destruction. And then in chapter 17, we see the fall of Samaria. This is a turning point in the whole history of the Holy Land. From now on, there will not be a divided monarchy, because there will only be the state of Judah. Samaria, as we've known it here for the last couple months as we've been reading, won't exist. The covenant had been violated, and so that was that. The lesson, turn back to God while you still can. Put trust in God. And another lesson is sin has consequences. And oftentimes those consequences are born in this world. You don't see in Scripture the chronicler or anybody else saying, and because Ahaz made bad choices, he went to hell. That Christian concept of afterlife really doesn't, that's not how the theology of the Hebrew Bible really works. 2 Corinthians. We probably can't, we can. I was going to say we can't resonate with the Corinthians' culture of shame and honor, but we actually live with a lot of shame and honor ourselves. So maybe that is why Paul's letters make sense to us. And maybe Paul's letters are partly why our culture of shame and honor has been perpetuated over the last 2,000 years. Paul plays on this idea of honor here in 2 Corinthians. Basically, he's saying at the beginning of our text from 2 Corinthians today, just think if Macedonians discovered that you Corinthians aren't ready to follow through on the promises you made. Paul's basically saying, what will people think? And, that shame that comes from that question oftentimes, we can resonate with that, can't we? I'm being critical, of course, that Paul is playing on that. But at its best, if we were to interpret Paul's shaming as best we can, he's calling on their best intentions, right? The Corinthians have said they're going to do this, be generous in these ways, and he's saying, time to follow through. Do what you can to uphold your promise. And then we get a lot about how giving is such a gift to the giver. Joyful giving requires a proper perception of where resources come from to begin with. Many of us perceive that our good fortune comes from ourselves, our own hard work. But we could also attribute that good fortune to God, or to our community, or to all of the above. And a balance leads toward an understanding of grace. Our generosity bubbles into places far beyond where we expect it to. We might focus our giving on this one spot where then the gift overflows into other spots we never would have imagined. And then in chapter 10, we hear about Paul's preparation for a showdown visit in Corinth. And that's where we're headed. We are ready to punish every disobedience when your obedience is complete. Kind of like a parent saying, I'm ready when you are. And so here we go. Paul is promising to make his way to Corinth. I am one with my God is with us, all of us at all times and in all places.